And before I get started, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my YouTube channel. I'm just really excited in the direction God is taking my channel ongoing. So, and said, let's get on down to today's lecture, which is I'm going to talk about and I'm going to share some powerful tips uh, as a content creator, some powerful tips that you can use as a content creator to be more successful in terms of what you do as a content creator. And when I say success, you know, you can define success however you want to. My channel is over 5 years old. I've been monetized for well over 2 years, but I considered my YouTube channel a success the day one when I first created my channel. So I'm going to share with the audience some tips and strategies working for me. You know, uh, by evidence, my channel is into a whole nother stratosphere. My channel a couple of years ago was awarded the YouTube Silver Play Button Award and all of these other accolades and brand deals and etc. But even before it had any of that, my channel has been successful day one when I decided to be a content creator to share my knowledge, skills, and abilities onto the world. This channel will outlive me. But some tips and strategies that I utilize that help me as a content creator for the whole 5+ years is the main thing is you got to have the mindset and understand to always, in all of these tips and strategies I use personally, but I think what helps me is to always separate your social media persona from your real life persona. It should be separate and distinct. Real talk, people. Because YouTube, when your channel is monetized, it is a business. By evidence, we get that 1099 if your channel is monetized. By evidence, we get the 1099 at the end of the year to reflect our revenue. It's a business. By evidence, you violate those community guidelines, YouTube will shut you down. So it is a business. Because of that, I embrace that business model. And what comes with that, I'm going to always separate, always have my social media persona from my real life persona. Cameras ain't rolling on me 24/7. I'm not coming in front of these cameras self-disclosing personal information about my life when the cameras are off. I have a strategic business plan in place in relation to my YouTube channel. Everything I do ties into my strategic business plan in terms of whether I do a short or a lecture or a limited live screen lecture, or everything that I do as a content creator to create my videos. I have well over 10,000 plus videos in my catalog. Everything ties into being motivational, educational, inspiring, thought-provoking, useful information to the world versus getting in front of these cameras and self-disclosing information about me or my family members and etc. I do not do that. I'm going to be here to do what I do as a content creator in line with my strategic business plan. If I may have a bad day or got into a situation with a family member or got personal stuff going on me in my world, I'm not going to self-disclose that in front of these cameras. So it's critical. What has helped me as a content creator is to keep that social media persona and your real life persona separate and distinct. No different if you're working a 9-to-5 job and that company is paying you to perform the essential functions of your job. You got to adhere to HR guidelines. I will hope you ain't taking your personal life on that job and you ain't bringing that job home to your personal life. So it's no different from being a content creator. When we get a 1099 at the end of the year, we have to abide by those community guidelines. If not, YouTube will shut your behind down. Cameras ain't rolling on me 24/7. Real talk. That's a powerful tip, because I've seen many content creators on social media platforms, cameras on them all the time. When they wake up in the morning, when they go into the doctor's office, when they get into an argument, back and forth, dramified, and the cameras rolling. Anything that's going on personal with them, they're in front of these cameras. And, to each his own, but to me, I think there needs to be a separation. And I've always done that. Even though I'm fully retired, I fully retired in 2023. I worked 40 something years in the workforce. I ain't never been one of those type of employees where I'm going to come on nobody's job and talk about my personal life. I don't do that. When I retired in 2023, after working over 17 years for state government, even though I was in the military, I'm not self-disclosing my personal life on no job. I can remember when I fully retired, no one, not even my immediate co-workers, knew, who had been working shoulder to shoulder with me for years. Nobody knew I was retiring until it was my last day on the job, my last 2 hours, real talk, because I didn't want nobody knowing my business. So I use that same model as a content creator. I'm not self-disclosing personal information about me. If I mention something, it's very general. You're not going to know where I live, my favorite color, my marital status is, rather I'm a grandparent, or how many kids I got, unless I disclose something general, because I know those personas need to be separate and divided. And another thing that helps me as a content creator, I don't go back and forth with nobody on these social media platforms with anything dramified. Because when I'm in front of these cameras, like right now, I'm doing this live streaming lecture. And the focus of this lecture is some giving powerful tips on how to be a content creator. I see people in the live. I appreciate everybody listening in on this lecture. But one of the things I will never do, I don't respond to negativity. I'm going to acknowledge people in my life. But one of the things I don't do, because it's going to slow me down on my deliverance, I'm not going to be stopping, reading these comments, answering back and forth. I'm going to acknowledge everybody. I appreciate everybody listening in. But one of my styles as a content creator, I'm going to acknowledge everyone in my live stream. But one of the things I don't do is go back and forth reading these comments, because that's going to slow me down. And that could easily turn a 30-minute lecture into a 2-hour lecture. And that'll take away from my personal time when I'm not in front of these cameras. Because when I get done delivering this lecture, I'm going to deplug and move on with the rest of my evening. That has been a powerful tip that works for me. Now, that might not work for other people, but it's working for me by evidence. I don't even keep counting anymore. I got over 400,000 something subscribers, brand deals, and many other accolades, and I ain't mad at my YouTube checks every month. So it's working for me. So that's just a powerful tip and strategy for me to help maintain that balance. Is I'm going to acknowledge my listeners, but I'm not going to go back and forth because I can't see that great, but it's going to slow me down. So that works for me. That's a powerful tip for me. And like I said, the most powerful thing is if a person, I'm at the end of my lecture, later on, I may go through this lecture and take a look at the comments and acknowledge people with a thumbs up. That's other ways you can acknowledge your supporters. You're verbally acknowledging them. You're giving them that thumbs up for listening in and etc. But I do that after the lecture's over. That don't take a whole lot of time, and it's been working for me. You know, another powerful tip I tell a content creator is, again, don't even waste your energy on trolls. Don't waste your energy on negativity. If there's a troll in my live right now, I wouldn't even know, because I ain't going back and forth. And I have this mindset: if there's a troll coming through and they want to leave negative comments, come on through. Come on and leave those negative comments. That's helping me with my watch hours. That's helping me with my ad revenue. That's making my YouTube check bigger every month. Because one of the ways we get paid also as a content creator, not just our brand deals, we also get paid by ads being running across our channel. You know, there's many ways we get paid as a content creator from YouTube. And watch hours also helps your channel go into a whole nother stratosphere. So when a negative troll comes to my channel, you ain't doing nothing but helping my channel. You're helping me with watch hours. You're helping me push my channel to a whole nother stratosphere. And I thank you for that. But one of the things I don't do, I'm not going to respond to you. You know, I don't even respond to people in my live who are positive. I'm going to acknowledge them, but I'm not going to go back and forth with you. And if you leave something that's too negative on my channel, I'm just going to block you, and you're going to become a faded memory, and I'm going to move on with the rest of my day. And my YouTube chats ain't mad every month when it hit my bank account. So that's the mindset that I have. That's one of the reasons as a content creator, a powerful tip is to embrace that business model. And what I mean by embracing that business model, you need to have a strategic business plan on paper with measurable goals and objectives, action steps, objectives, and projected due date in relation to your YouTube channel. Because if you don't have a strategic business plan in place as a content creator, how are you going to measure the progress of your channel without that strategic business plan in place? You have to be looking at that business plan, revising that business plan, updating that business plan. A powerful tip, if you don't have that strategic business plan in place as a content creator, you are setting yourself up for failure. Bottom line, real talk. And I talk about that strategic business plan more in brevity on prior lectures, but I'm telling you the most powerful tip. I can clearly remember when the birth of my channel. I have many goals on my strategic business plan, not just YouTube related, but I can remember, because my channel is well over 5 years old. I can literally remember some specific goals and action steps that I had on my strategic business plan. Them obvious to get monetized. And the steps that I had to go to, the measurable objectives to get that first 1,000 subscribers. Another measurable objective is to get the 4,000 watch hours within a 365-day time frame. But my point is, and on the far right of that business plan, I had projected due dates in relation to the goal achievement. So, and I was looking at that business plan, revising that business plan, updating that business plan 5 times a month, people. And I still update and revise my strategic business plan in relation to all of my goals, not just YouTube. So I say this to say, if you are a content creator and do not have that strategic business plan on paper, where you're looking at that business plan, revising that business plan, updating that business plan, how are you going to measure the progress of your channel? Real talk. I rest my case with that one. Because I can assure you, if you are listening to this lecture and you are a content creator, my thought-provoking question is, do you have a strategic business plan in place in relation to your YouTube channel? I can clearly remember, because my channel earned the YouTube Silver Play Button Award well over 2 years ago. And one of the criterias earn the YouTube Silver Play Button Award, your channel has to reach that first 100,000 subscribers. You have to abide with no warnings or strikes on your channel. Another criteria within a 365-day time frame. So there's some steps I had to write down, action steps on my strategic business plan to hit that benchmark in order for my channel to be awarded the Silver Play Button Award when I met all of those criterias. Another criteria to meet, to earn that YouTube Silver Play Button Award, it's not about just that first 100,000 subscribers. It's also that your channel cannot have any warnings or violations on, because YouTube's going to check within a 365-day time frame. You could not have been aligned to another channel that has been shut down. They're going to dissect your channel. When your channel reach all those benchmarks, YouTube will send you alert you in your YouTube studio to go in and make application for your YouTube Silver Play Button Award. And when you go in and fill out that application, YouTube will spend about 2 or 3 weeks dissecting your channel. Another criteria to earn that YouTube Silver Play Button Award, all of your content must be original. You cannot be in violation of copyright laws. You cannot have used anyone else's material, videos, music, because they're going to dissect all of your videos, people. And to make sure you have met all those criterias, I got well over 10,000 plus videos in my video dialogue or catalog. And you better believe all of my content is original. Because if you're violating those copyright laws, YouTube will not award you the YouTube Silver Play Button Award. And in addition, they can shut your channel down. So I went through stringent requirements as a content creator for my channel to earn that YouTube Silver Play Button award way back then, which all tied into writing measurable objectives on my strategic business plan with those projected due dates, those benchmarks, all laid out on my strategic business plan. And that's why I'm going to stress this enough. A powerful tip to succeed as a content creator, you got to have that strategic business plan in place. Real talk. And I can go on and on with that. That's the foundation of what I do as a content creator in terms of making sure any goal I want to achieve as a content creator, rather it's increased revenue or increased brand deals or pushing my channel to a whole nother stratosphere, I'm going to have all those action steps clearly written on that business plan. And I'm going to be looking at that business plan, revising that business plan, and updating that business plan on an ongoing basis. Real talk, people, because without that business plan, you, I'm going to say it, or get loud and clear, are setting yourself up for failure as a content creator. So a lot of content creators don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that critique, but better yet, they probably ain't gotten there. My thought-provoking question is, if you are a content creator, do you have a strategic business plan in place in relation to your YouTube channel to ensure the success of your channel? And you can define success any way you want to. Because like I said, my channel was a success day one. I can remember when I had 2 subscribers on my channel. It was me and my daughter. 2 subscribers. I can clearly remember when it took my channel well over a year to get 100 subscribers. When I say, my God, I ain't gonna ever get monetized. Going into that second year, really sit down and revamp my strategic business plan. And I did. If it wouldn't have been for me sitting down, revamping my strategic business plan, I would have never got monetized. That's how serious it was. Everything that I wrote down on my strategic business plan prior to my channel getting monetized all unfolded right before my eyes. I was checking off, meeting those projected due dates, and it took me 2.5 years to monetize, but that's okay. Took me a whole year to get that first 100 subscribers. That's okay. That's why I want to stress the importance of having that strategic business plan. Because I can remember way back then, going into year 2, I had to go into that strategic business plan. I had to do some revamping. Because ain't no in the world, I was thinking, ain't no in the world I'm going to get monetized. I only got 100 subscribers. I can clearly remember that. I said, and they want 1,000? Ain't no in the world I'm going to be able to 1,000 subscribers. It's going to take me forever. But like I said, if it wouldn't have been for me in and out of that strategic business plan, I wouldn't be having this conversation right now. That's the most powerful, most important tip as a content creator I'm going to say to the world. You got to have that strategic business plan in place for your channel as a content creator, and be looking at and revising and updating that plan on an ongoing basis. So again, that's all I have. Share this information. You know, there may be some content creators who may need to hear this, real talk. And with that being said, that's all I have. Simplify, simple fidelis, and I'm going to leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.